3 News Now Web Extra.
The first thing I had to do was decide whether I wanted to rebuild or not, and you know, I know that the community needs it. I want to be there also. You know, I don't really like what I'm doing now, working for somebody else, but you know, I enjoy being in the small town and being able to talk to the people, and it's something that is vital for, you know, the well-being of the community in many different ways. So, you know, I decided that it was the right thing to do and to go at it full blast. It's just things didn't work out the way I wanted since then.
I know that someone else owned it for a while, but for the most
Right.
part, how many generations of Mulholland?
Four generations.
Yeah. And when was that store established? Was it 19th century?
Yeah, 1873, 75.
So we're talking
150 years now.
years.
I mean, I started working there, you know, Saturdays and summers and stuff when I was 12 or 13. You know, something that a lot of people don't think about is the opportunity to work with your dad. And, you know, I had that. My grandfather had sold it by the time I started there, but, you know, I got to work with my dad for over a decade.
You worked at a fairly, I guess you maybe describe it as a higher end grocery store in Omaha.
I was the meat department manager there. I worked there for a month short of 20 years. And, you know, I built a reputation for working with quality meats. We won Best of Omaha in a little tiny store. You know, I was able to learn so much, and I had a fantastic boss, a great mentor, and I learned so much about the business. And in 2008, the economy was tanking and gas prices were going up, and the money I was spending driving back and forth, you know, made me start wondering about that, and the store came up for sale again. Even then, it was a struggle for a number of years. I won a statewide business pitch competition and, you know, got a lot of notoriety out of that. $10,000 in prize money, and it really turned things around for us. People that hadn't heard of us before were now paying attention. Some of the different types of sausages and smoked products that I made. I had people that drove from Ames every year to pick up one of my sausages. We shipped meat across the country, and you know, we had a heck of a reputation. We did the best that we could there. It was a rough situation, and you know, one of the things I said was that my former boss had 45, 50 years experience in groceries, but now all of a sudden I'm dealing with things he never would have dealt with in his life. You know, we were trying to do things on the fly and dealing with, you know, limited employees and things like that, trying to, not being able to get products, not being able to get deliveries. You know, we had one time where our Tuesday morning delivery finally showed up Thursday evening.
What initially kind of slowed down the process of rebuilding?
We couldn't even clean up the debris from the fire for 6 months because they couldn't decide if the wall of the building next door was structurally stable. So, you know, that all sat there until June the following year.
So was that the potential contractors that couldn't decide if it was
No,
structurally
but
stable?
structural engineers. They were brought in by insurance and stuff,
okay.
you know, not even our own, but nothing could happen. You couldn't bring big equipment in to do what was needed until they knew that wall wasn't going to fall on them. So, you know, it was 2 months before the fire marshal and 4 other investigators were able to get in there and try to determine the cause, which never was determined. You know, we picked out a construction company that I thought was going to be a very good fit. I had others that helped me make that decision, and, you know, they all thought it was a very good fit. But then when it came time to do things, you know, the following year was when we were finally able to get ready. And every time we were ready, we'd be saying, we're going to start work tomorrow, and then they'd start an argument about something with other people on the team. Do we really need to be doing this? Shouldn't we be doing something more there? And these were questions that could have been asked weeks ago or whatever, and it just caused delay after delay. And after about the fourth or fifth time they did that, I finally said, that's it, and we had to fire them. And by then it was late last summer, and it's too late to get anything going again. We've been working all winter long on plans. I don't have enough money to build what we wanted to. So we've had to make a smaller footprint, make a smaller store. We talked about a drive-up window with a coffee shop there, and that's had to go by the wayside. But we're trying to do everything that the community needs, and what has made the store as popular and successful in the past. I've been working on getting equipment all along. Anytime I could get things that I needed, maybe secondhand, used. Just this last week, I've had shelving delivered for the whole store. What I needed would have cost $30,000 to $40,000.
Like if you'd bought it new.
If I bought it new. I've got other things that have been purchased already, and people have asked about what's happened with some of the money, the insurance money, the donations or whatever. When we had fundraisers last year, all of that money went into MABA, and they set up a special account for me. The money is still in those accounts, has never been touched by me, and if the store doesn't happen, then the money stays with MABA. It's not lining my pockets or doing anything to help me unless we actually do this, and that's what we're doing.
Yeah, and you don't get, is it my understanding too, like you don't get the insurance money unless you rebuild too, right?
Exactly. And I've spent a lot of that money on,
Finding new stuff.
the equipment that I have bought. Monday there was an online meeting with the whole team, and Tuesday they sent out an email that showed their thoughts on the color schemes, etc.
Are you doing like an exterior to still kind of match the downtown?
As much as possible. And again, we've got to be careful with funding, but I never wanted to put up a Quonset hut and get back in as soon as possible, and some people have said, we'd have welcomed that by now, because it has been so long. I see some of my customers in that store, and it hurts. Before I started working there and I was shopping at a couple of different places, I'd see my grocery customers, and it hurt. And I can't run into people without, questions about, what's going on. Can't wait until, we have you back here. In January, the sausage stuffer arrived, and it sat in my living room for a couple of months. I took it out to a friend's place that owns a restaurant, and I started making his sausages recently again. So.
Yeah, you said that made you feel good.
Yeah.
When I talked to you, to be able to
it
do
did.
things.
The base of that wall has never had dirt up against it before. So that's got to be done properly, and then they'll fill the hole in, compact that, and get going. Right now, they're expecting that they're going to send out a request for bids within the next week or so. They've got a number of people that they've talked to already that are very interested in it, and that would be able to get on things soon. And hopefully about a year after that, they'll get far enough this year that they can continue working through the winter and get things finished up next spring.